All right, I think I got it.
Do you want to give me your final answer, or do you want me to work through it to see if you're on the same track?
I'll just try to give you my final answer.
Okay, what are your final answers?
X equals 5, X equals -15.
Okay, those sound correct. So +5 plus 5 is 10. 10 squared is 100. A quarter of 100 is 25. 25 minus 25 is 0. The -15 gives you the same thing. Very good. All right.
Right.
So we're gonna transition to solve by completing the square.
Okay.
And we have enough time to do a full lesson on this, so that you can actually get some real practice in it. So I show this perhaps differently than you might see in class. So when you see that, you have to make a decision, and you have to decide, okay, it's not that my way is right and the teacher's way is wrong, or vice versa. It's that you have to decide, like when you stand up at the plate, what are you going to do? You got to make a decision. And so just keep in mind, one of the benefits of tutoring is that you get to see it maybe a different way. Maybe it's a better way. Who knows? All right. So let's look at something pretty straightforward. Let's say I want you to solve x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Okay, by completing the square.
Okay.
All right. So just follow along here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract 8 from the other side. So it's x squared plus 6x. I'm going to leave a space equals -8. And notice that leave a space is on both sides of the equation. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now your attention is going to be drawn to this right here, this +6. Can you tell me what half of +6 is?
+3.
So it's going to be x plus 3 in parentheses. So notice you take half. So divide by 2. Okay. Now just kind of off to the side. Okay, we're gonna do this kind of off to the side now. Do you remember what x plus 3 times x plus 3? Do you remember how to simplify that?
X plus 3 squared.
So you have to FOIL. FOIL. Have you seen that before?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
So have you seen x times x?
Oh, right. Yeah.
X squared. X
Yeah,
times
yeah,
3 is
okay.
3x. I'm gonna keep going here.
I think combine like terms. Right.
Yes. So x squared plus 6x plus 9. How does what I've drawn down here, or written down here, mirror what's up here?
Well, it's all the same, just without the +9.
So what do you think goes in that box?
+9.
And to be fair, you do it to both sides of the equation.
Got it.
Now, how did I get that number? Because you don't want to FOIL every time. You square the 3. So you
divide that number. Okay.
Yep. Say it out loud. No, keep going. I shouldn't have interrupted you.
You're good. So you divide it by whatever it is, you get that number, and then you square it.
Yes, and you have to put it on both sides.
Got it.
It's like, I don't know if you have brothers or sisters, but it's like they get 9 pieces of ice cream, you get 9 pieces of ice cream, or whatever. Okay, now we're not done, but this is what they expect to see. So this equals, what is -8 plus 9? That's +1. Okay. Now How does this look compared to problems we've been doing up until now?
Pretty similar.
Basically the same. So go ahead and solve from here, please.
All right.
Do you have your final answers?
Yeah, x plus 2, or x equals 2, x equals -4.
So the -4 is correct, but not the 2. Because 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 squared is 25.
Hold on, let me see where I messed up. So for
Small
that,
sign error somewhere.
x plus 3 equals 1 minus
Plus,
3. Oh, is it a -2?
yes, plus or minus. So that was the big thing from the other day. And you had done it really well on all these other problems, so I
Right,
didn't
yeah.
really question it. But yeah, it's plus or minus 1.
Oh, shoot, okay.
So that's the case 1, case 2. X plus 3 equals 1. X plus 3 equals -1.
Gotcha.
So when you subtract 3 from both sides, you should get x equals
-2, yeah. And then x equals -4. Oh, okay,
Yep, good.
gotcha.
Okay, so let's do another one. Let me know if when you get this down in your notes.
Yeah, I got it down.
Got it down. Okay. Okay, so let's say it's it would say something like this: f of x equals x squared plus 8x minus 9, like this, and it would say to solve by completing the square. We'll say CTS is completing the square. Okay. So the first step here is you set it equal to 0.
Set it equal, okay.
Yeah, and I kind of hid that from you in the last problem, but you do set it equal to 0. Then you add the constant to the other side.
Which in this case is -9, so plus 9.
Yes, that's right. So it's got x squared plus 8x, leave a space, equals 9. Now it's at this point, and I've got the benefit here of, color digital ink here. I like to show that it's these buckets or these placeholders, they're in the same place. They're one on each side, so there's the same number. So from here you're doing exactly what you said in words. You take half of 8, positive
Right.
8 in this case, put it down here, squared, and then you have to put a number in the bucket. So tell me those numbers. What goes in parentheses? What goes in this bucket?
So in the parentheses is 4, but then the bucket, would that be 6? Oh, well,
Yes.
okay, yeah, 16.
Plus 4, and then you square it, plus 16.
Right.
So you gotta start saying it with the operator, because that does matter. You'll see in a moment that does matter. What goes on the right hand side?
16 as well, plus 16.
Okay, and then you add those two numbers together, and that's
36.
25. Not 9 plus 16. 9 plus
Oh,
16.
right, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'd like you to solve it from here using the square root property.
I got my answers.
Okay, give me your answers, please.
X equals 1, X equals -9.
Good, very good.
Right.
Okay, so one other, actually, let me have you try one, all the way through from here. See if I can find one that's reasonable. I guess this next one's reasonable. So let's say it's x squared plus 14x minus 51 equals 0. And I want you to ask me questions if you have them, but it's the same steps that we've done. Nothing different, just different numbers. Same steps though. So look at your notes, ask me questions. Let's see where you're at on
That
this.
one's right. Right. I got my answer.
Okay, so let me just see where you're at here. Did you get x plus 7 squared equals 100?
Yeah.
Great. So you should get x plus 7 equals plus or minus 10.
Yep.
And then the two possibilities are x plus 7 equals 10, x plus 7 equals minus 10. And so if you subtract 7, you get 3 and
Right.
negative 17. Okay.
Mhm.
So it's right at this point where you're like, hey, I got it. You know, lesson's over. I throw a little wrinkle in, a little curve here, unfortunately. So what happens if, because we haven't looked at this yet, what happens if it's negative? Okay. You notice the previous problems we've done positive,
Right. Yeah.
positive, and so on. It's no different. It's no different. So we'll work this one out together. But it doesn't change anything. It's the same thing we've been doing. It just becomes x minus 6 in parentheses. You still cut it in half. You still divide by 2.
Okay.
Now, in terms of what goes into this new position, oh, sorry about that. Let's get that back up. If you recall, you're literally, when you FOIL this, it becomes x squared minus 12x plus 36, because minus 6 times minus 6 becomes positive 36.
Positive 36.
So this number is almost always positive.
Okay.
Okay, so it doesn't matter that it's like, we want to make a big deal out of like, well, you know, is it you know, but it becomes positive. So on the right hand side, you get 25, and you solve it just the way we've been doing.
Got it.
Right. So no big deal there. Okay, so any questions on that before I kind of throw another?
No, sounds good.
Okay. I'm just looking for one that's not to make this too crazy. So let me have you try one like this. X squared minus 4x Minus 12 equals 0. So go ahead and solve this one for us, please, using completing the square.
Or can I say it?
Yeah, give me your answers.
Yeah. X equals 10, X equals 6.
Okay. So 10 squared minus 4 times 10 minus 12. That's 100 minus 40 minus 12. So that does not work here. So let's take a look here. And I didn't know, so I was just checking here. Did
Okay.
you get it down to x minus 2 squared?
Yeah.
Okay. So over here it'd be 12 plus 4. Did you get 16 on the right-hand side?
I had a -4 on that side.
Okay, so let's review here because this is really important here. You're going to move the 12 to the other side. Okay, so you get x squared minus 4x equals 12. This becomes x minus 2 squared. The number that goes up here is -2 in parentheses squared. Okay,
Oh,
and if you're still not sure why, because it comes from foiling this.
okay.
When you
And
foil
that's a
this,
+4.
yes, and that's critical.
Got it. Okay. So all right.
So go ahead and try it from here. Let work it out from this point.
X equals 18, X equals -4.
We got 18 and -4. Those sound
Negative
better.
14.
Negative 4,
14.
-14. So we still got an issue here. So when you take the square root of both sides here, it's plus or minus the square root of 16. What is the square root of 16?
4.
And I'm guessing that's where your issue is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, and I'll be able to get it from there.
Yeah. So like I'm gonna draw a baseball analogy if you don't mind. Have you ever tried to run down first base before you hit the ball?
Yeah.
It doesn't work real well. Like and that's what I'm sort of sensing is there's this like urgency to get the problem fast and done. But you know, your answer was reasonable. You're like, well, I got 2 whole numbers, but you got to do everything. You got to, get the square root of each side. But that's what we're here for. We're here for practice.
Right.
X minus 2 equals 4, x minus 2 equals -4, x equals 6, x equals -2, not -6. Any questions on that? Because I want to definitely have you do at least one more here where you
No,
really
yeah, I
get
want to
this,
get one more.
get it kind of nailed down. And so you're going to see this again in your classes. Like this is not a one-time thing. This is,
For sure.
so all right, let's go x squared minus 2x minus 15 equals 0. Again, solve by completing the square.
Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
I don't know if it's just, or this is sort of cheating, but is 14 squared 7? Or is the square root of 14 7? Or is there
It's
no square root?
okay. So you're onto something there. If you don't know the square root of the number, you've probably made a mistake. And
Right. That's why
that
I'm
is the
asking.
case here.
Yeah.
So let's go through this one again. X squared minus 2x equals 15. Is that okay? Is that where you're
Yeah.
at?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's x minus 1 squared. Did you get
Mhm.
that far?
Yeah.
So up here is -1 squared. And notice the way I'm writing it's kind of different than the way I'm saying it. So it's +1 here, +1.
+1. Okay. Right.
So for until further notice,
So,
this number is always positive.
16. Okay.
And that's what I was alluding to. Like when I hear that, I was like, oh, I know he's made a sign error because it should be the square root of something that you know. So keep going, carry out from here.
Okay. X equals 9, X equals 7.
Did you take the square root of 16?
Yeah, is that 8?
It is not 8. Okay, so that's
Oh,
that.
4? Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it again. X equals 5, X equals -5.
So again, close. The 5 is correct, but not the -5. So it's x minus 1 equals 4, x minus 1 equals -4. Adding 1 to both sides, adding 1 to both sides.
So wait, X. Are they both -5 then? If they're both
No.
they're both positive half?
You're adding 1 to both sides. So +1 and +1.
Oh,
4
okay, so
plus 1.
-3.
Yes.
Got it.
This is all like little tiny little things that are like, I hate saying this, but it's like you should know because you've seen these before, is what I mean by that. We got to get it corrected though. And then in the square root's another matter. So let's just go through square roots here. Okay. Let's just start with the, we'll start at 5. So 5 squared, can you tell me what 5 squared is?
25.
25. So the square root of 25 is 5.
5.
6 squared is 36. Square root of 36 is
6.
7 squared is 49. Square root of 49 is
7.
7. You can see the pattern here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question to you, this is not correct. My question to you is how do you remember something that's important? Like, what do you do if it's really important? How do you remember?
I just try to practice it or like remember it over and over.
Okay. Yeah. This list goes up to, we'll go up to 12, I guess, for right now. Like there is this expectation that you know this, and this is not beyond your capabilities to know this. And I'm not great at this. Like, if you like going out on TikTok and you want to find something to remember this, do that. Or if you, going to go to YouTube and find somebody who does a song and dance on this, like whatever it is, you got to know this list. Okay. And then the other thing is like, somehow you have to retrain your brain. I think this is the hardest thing to do, is that x squared means x times x, not what you were thinking before.
X or
And so the square root of x squared
like
is x, because
Gotcha.
it has to be the same number. So when you say the square root of 16, you want to think 4 times 4 gets me back to that.
Right. Okay.
Because if you give me another number that isn't right, which I'm trying to not even say it, you have to also take the issue of saying, is that times itself what I'm asking for? Square root of 81, 9 times 9 gets me back to that.
To 81.
Yes. Yes. So the answer is 9 is the point here. Okay. Let's try another one here.
Okay.
I want you to step me through this problem.
Okay.
Meaning I'm only going to do the things that you tell me to do.
Okay.
What should I do first?
So first, add 48 to the other side.
Okay.
Okay, now write x squared and then leave the gaps.
Good.
Okay. Now you're gonna do parentheses x minus 1 squared
Good.
equals 48. Or wait, no.
Why did you leave a gap here?
Because I have to get my answer down there. So +1, +1.
Anywhere else should I put +1?
Yeah, on the other side. Yeah.
Okay.
Then you get 49.
Okay. Now tell me, keep going. What should I do from here?
So now you need to x plus 1 equals 7.
X minus 1.
X minus 1, yeah, equals 7.
Okay, so it's plus or minus.
Plus or minus.
That's the gap here. Is you have to actually show the square root.
Oh, okay.
On both sides. You have to show this step.
Okay. And then
So what is the square root of 49? And before you tell me the number, make sure you multiply it to yourself and say, yes, that actually does work.
Okay. 7.
Plus or minus 7. Now
Plus
what
or
should I
minus
do?
7. And then, so you're gonna write out two equations.
Okay, what's the first one?
X minus 1 equals 7. Then your second one's gonna be x minus 1 equals minus 7.
Okay,
And then
now how do we solve this?
on the first equation, you add plus 1.
Okay, so x is 8. How about on the second one?
Same thing.
Okay, so my my response to what you've done here is that based on this, you should know how to do a problem start to finish without making any mistakes. But there's places where you got to make sure you have the right sign here. You got to make sure you take the square root correctly, and then you have to correctly separate the two equations. So it's like synthesis. There's like a bunch of things to do that will become better. Now, keep in mind, like when you learn completing the square, you might spend 2 lessons in class, and we spent like 30 minutes on it. So you're doing really well. Like don't feel like you're not doing well, because you are.
Okay.
Just want to see you, it's like if we could just get you start to finish on a problem, that would be ideal.
All right.
So here we go. Go ahead and try this one on your own, please.
All right. I think I have my answer.
Okay, what's your final answer?
X equals 7. X equals negative 11.
Okay, so let's try it here. So 7 squared plus 2 times 7 minus 80 equals 0. So this is 49 plus 14 minus 80. This is not going to work out. Okay, so why don't you look through your work before I show you the steps here. And it's always good to just kind of start fresh. It's always good to be like, all right,
Where'd you get the 7x from?
I'm just checking your work. I'm just putting your
Okay.
answer should satisfy this. So go ahead and just look one more time. It's probably something small like a sign error or square root, or didn't solve the last 2 equations.
1 squared is, we go back to 1, right? 1
That's
squared
right.
is 1.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, and the square root of 81 is 9, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
What do you have in parentheses?
X plus 1 squared.
So this is correct. So it's x plus 1 equals plus or minus the square root of 81.
Right.
Do you have this?
Shoot. I see. I wrote x plus 2 instead of x plus 1.
Okay,
So give me one second.
and that will do it. That will,
Yeah, shoot. Very close. Oh. X equals 8, x equals 10.
okay, so I'm gonna say these are for sure correct. Now, how do I, to check these? Because this is an important part of math, especially if you care about your grade, which I know we're working to improve here. You can go out of the test or quiz and know that your answer is correct. So if you square 8, what is 8 squared?
64.
Good. 2 times 8, that's 16. Does this equal 0?
Yeah, 80 minus 80.
That's right. So that worked. Now we tried for the other one. Have you solved systems of equations already in your class?
Maybe. Can you?
Oh,
maybe
that's okay. Never mind. We'll just keep going with this. This one, x squared plus 2x minus 80, 10 squared. What is 10 squared, Mateo?
100,
100 plus 2 times 10.
20 minus 80. So 0.
Well, it's
Wait,
120.
no. Yeah. 40.
So this one does not work. It's a small little error.
Oh, okay. I see that.
What's the mistake? It's from this line right here.
The plus or minus is there. Is it?
Let me just move all this down here. All right, so it should be x plus 1 equals 9, x plus 1 equals minus 9.
Right? Yeah.
Subtract 1, subtract 1. One on the left is fine. One on the right, though.
Oh, it should be negative 10. Shoot.
Yes.
Got it.
So how does that change our answer down here on the right? Well, just a tiny bit here. It's parentheses negative 10 squared. So that doesn't change. That's 100.
Right.
But this middle one does. It becomes negative 20.
Oh, okay. And then.
Yeah. So like the consequences of a sign error, let me put it into real terms. Have you started driving yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So, but you understand there's forward and then there's reverse.
Yeah.
What could be the consequence of going forward instead of reverse, or reverse instead of forward, and sort of some.
If you're at a red light and you think you're going forward, you could be in reverse. You could go to the person behind you, or
right. So I'm not going to try to like equate signs with like hitting someone in traffic, but the point is like it really does matter. And like let's just say you were going and you were assigned a job where you had to get the direction right. It's that important. Okay.
Right.
So and that's why they keep, over and over again, like banging your, come on, sign error. Like it's frustrating because you're like, come on, like tired of this. But
Yeah.
but literally this is what you might see. Now, let's look at some other equations here where they're kind of mixed up a little bit. Sorry about that. So here's another completing the square problem. Sorry, this number is not correct. Let me make that let me make this 27. Okay. All right. So this is another completing the square problem. Like it would tell you to complete the square so that you would know. Okay. What is different about this one compared to the other ones that we've been working on? Any idea?
I mean, 27's not really because they're both multiples of 3. So I don't know.
Okay, so here's what's different. In all the previous problems, let me show you this. Do you see how I put 0 on the right-hand side?
Yeah. Oh,
0
there's
on the
no
right-hand
0.
side? There's no 0. Now, in some ways, I've sort of given you a head start on this because
Yeah.
really it's x squared minus 6x, leave a space equals 27. Now, tell me what goes in parentheses down here in the binomial.
X minus 3.
X minus 3 squared. What goes in the gap?
Plus 9.
Okay. What goes now on the right-hand side?
36.
Good. Okay, so this is the key step for you. You have to take the square root of both sides. You want to show this step. Plus or minus the square root
Right.
of 36. What is the square root of 36?
6.
So plus or minus 6. So I
So
want you to write the two equations and solve them for us, please.
X equals 9. X equals negative 3.
Sounds right. So x equals 9, x equals negative 3. Good. Really good here. Okay. Trying to figure out what else we can do here. So we'll just kind of summarize here what we've done today.
Okay.
So when you're solving some sort of quadratic, okay, and this is what we actually started with the other day, there are always two solutions. Okay, so if you only have one solution, that could be an issue, something to think about.
Mhm.
So so then one type of problem we solved is using what's called the square root formula. That's what we started with. The square root property, sorry, square root property. So what you're looking for is it's got one x in it. So an example would be like 5x minus 3 squared plus 1 equals 81. Do you see how there's just one x?
Yeah.
Okay. That's because that's what you're going to be tested on. They're going to say like, solve one of these problems using square root property. You got to know which one. It's got one x in it. The other thing that we've been doing today is using completing the square. Okay. Now, typically it tells you to use completing the square. Like it'll say, do this, like you must complete the square. All right. There's not really a great way to look for it in truth. Okay. So what you really need to know here is you have to know the recipe, the set of steps. Okay. So I mentioned, that we're screen recording. The way that I would use the screen recording is I would go back. You don't have to do this today, just, at some point, I would go back to a problem like this one, pause the video right here, try to work it out, and then go through it, and then, do another one if you want. And that's how you study. I mean, that's how you get better at this, is redoing some of the problems on your own, watching the video, and really won't take you that long if you do that. But we are basically out of time for today, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.
Got it.